That brings me to what the president said 2 days ago. Of course, he's there to attract investment into the country, trying to talk to people and showcase the potentials the country has got. And of course, he's very, very optimistic that Nigeria still remains conducive for investment to thrive. And that takes me to your research, your business confidence. And your report shows that the first quarter aggregate BCI
2004.
dropped. Yes, the first quarter in 2004 dropped to 11% from 17.6%. I mean, what does that tell?
Well, you know that the business confidence index is always one step ahead, proactive indicator showing whether potential investors and existing investors are ready to increase or expand their investment or not. What it really says is that in the next few months, and it's a quarterly indicator, by the way, in the next few months, investors, both existing and potential ones, are going to be a little bit softer, to expanding their investment. They will not, which means they will not create more jobs. And that is why we are echoing this issue about the World Economic Forum happening in May, that after the May meeting, this issue of investors being wary of the economy, expanding their investment because of the lingering macroeconomic and social factors should begin to moderate so that we can see investment flow. The major reason why we've seen that happening is the uncertainty concerning budget approval timelines and the assumptions in this 2014 budget. Investors doesn't know when this budget is going to come, and the provision is a little bit confusing as we speak. That is a major. And again, we're not just looking at the budget. Why is the delay in budget happening? Because of the uncertainty in our mainstay, which is oil and gas, oil benchmark. The Federal House of Representatives and Senate spent a large part of the end of last year debating what is going to be the benchmark. If our economy is diversified, we will not have business talking about oil. Since I was born, it's been oil, and nothing is changing.
All right. Now, this your business confidence report, how does it, or index, really, how does it complement other macroeconomic indicators, such as the inflation rate, GDP, exchange rate, and of course employment rate?
Okay. Most of these macroeconomic indicators, like you've itemized, are can I call it lagging indicators? They've happened. They are in the past. Of course, it's always good to know the past, compare with the present, and begin to project for the future. But the beauty and the good news about the business confidence index is that it is proactive. It tells you what investors are about to do, how much they want to do it, where they will do it, in which sector, in which city, in which region. What am I about to do? How much am I about to spend? In what? But inflation will tell you what has happened in December. Thank God it's even 1 month lagging now. Before it used to be 3 months lagging. GDP will tell you what has happened last year. Of course, investors want to know what has happened. But more importantly, we want to know what will happen. So it's a stronger indicator, and it tells you what is going to happen so that you take decision. If banks, for example, know that investors want to increase their investment in, say, manufacturing, say, textiles, of course, they will begin to strategize to channel their credit to that sector. So it's a win-win situation for both stakeholders and even policymakers.
All right. From the statistics you have, the financial sector seem to be, have been favored, kind of, and the manufacturing sector seem to be down there. Why?
You use the word favored. There is no favoritism. The financial sector is the only sector that moved up in the index number from 15% last quarter 2013 to 23%. Other sectors declined. In fact, manufacturing was more worrisome, from -2% to -10%.
Yeah, so when we are talking about investment, I believe investors should be looking at production, productivity.
Last week somebody...
So manufacturing should actually be where they should be looking at.
Exactly. And somebody told me, what has changed in bank this time? I said, well, they're expecting to declare very handsome profit in 2013. The CRR,
high profit
the CRR 50% that was increased to 50%. Sometimes in July last year, they are used to it is moderated. Unfortunately, a few days ago, CRR have moved from 50% to 75%, which is I see a banking index moderating in the second quarter. All of this, the message from the Lagos Chamber of Commerce is that Nigerians should do something. Regulatory authorities, physical authorities should be able to come together and see how we can increase manufacturing. That is the only way we can create jobs. That is the only way we can utilize our natural resource endowments. That is the future of this country.
All right, one would ask, what can we expect in terms of employment prospect in 2014, you know, in light of shrinking confidence level by businesses?
From the numbers, I'm sorry to say this, I'm not always a prophet of doom, but the investors, both SMEs, large corporates, have told us that they are more comfortable keeping their current level of employment numbers or even shrinking it instead of expanding it, except if something changed. But we expect that something will change, of course. This is just an indicator that is going to last for only 3 months. It is not for the whole of 2014.
All right. In all of this, I mean, we have our delegates in Davos trying to talk to international community on the prospects of Nigeria and the need for them to come into the country to invest. In all of this, what should Nigeria be taking away?
One of the things is that Nigerians should, we have a very formidable delegation in Davos as we speak, government, ministers and corporate, they should be taking away the successful story of their counterparts across the world. I mentioned Netanyahu telling the Israeli experience yesterday. You know, 80% of our fresh foods we import into this country is coming from Israel. How many are they? What is their landmarks? Reform and doing the hard thing. They should be able to learn from their counterparts abroad that have succeeded, including what South Africa did and what they're still doing, and come here and replicate it without fear or favor.
Yeah, and again, just before we go, you know, you talked about reforms, and if you have to do reform, you have to take core decision. You just have to, you know, go ahead, do it without fear or favor, just as you've said. But then, while doing that, you also have to consider the environment where you operate. Don't you think so?
It's true, but it's time that Nigeria live up to its promise. My early career, 2005, Goldman Sachs came out to say that Nigeria is part of the N11. Most of the N11 countries have moved on as the largest countries by GDP in 2020. Now, a few weeks ago, they've come out again to classify us as mint. That is the next 4 countries that will move up. You know, we have Mexico, there, Turkey, Indonesia, and Nigeria. It's time we live up to this expectation because we've got all of the favorable indicators for growth. Is it in the number, consumption number, 170 million, growing at about 2% per annum? Is it about resource endowment? Is it about favorable weather? Is it about stable democracy? We've got all of this. Just fix few things in Abuja and key state capitals, and you see us moving. It's not going to take us time.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Nwani.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, it's been interesting. Well, we've been looking at the World Economic Forum and its agenda and trying to relate it back here of what benefits the African countries have, and of course Nigeria as a whole. And I've been speaking with Mr. Vincent Nwani. He is the Director of Research and Advocacy, Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry. And well, unfortunately, our correspondent Harriet couldn't join us on this show, but we, of course, hope she will be able to do that subsequently. It's on that note we'll draw the curtain on today's edition of the program. Do remember to join us again, same time next week, and I will say thank God it's Friday. You have a good day.